Okay, everyone, thank you so much for coming. I'm Pete Davis, a 2L here at Harvard Law School, and the chair of the Harvard Law Forum, the longest-running American Law School speaker series, once home of Jimmy Carter, JFK, Whoopi Goldberg, Fidel Castro, Vince McMahon, and Eleanor Roosevelt. Beautiful speakers we've had here at the Harvard Law Forum. And now we have some wonderful speakers here today. We're called here today because the mission this year of the Harvard Law Forum is to draw attention to our school's mission statement, which is to educate leaders who contribute to the advancement of justice and the well-being of society, a supremely important cause in the advancement of justice and bettering the well-being of society is prison education. For 100 years since the dawn of the extension school movement, universities have claimed to be opening themselves up to the community, not just being resources for people inside here on campus. And prison education is a huge part of opening up our college to the community. And we're here to remind us why Harvard should fight for prison reform. We have Vince Greco, who is one of my friends and one of the leading formerly incarcerated prison reform advocates in Maryland. He is a member of the Maryland Alliance for Justice Reform and Out for Justice. He is a beneficiary of prison education himself, and during his 3-decade incarceration, he was a leader on the inside in Maryland in expanding college programs to Maryland prisons. So, and we're hoping this can be a bit of a pep rally too, to encourage us to keep up the fight of opening up Harvard to our incarcerated neighbors. Let's throw it to intro us, Vince Greco right here.
Hi, how's everybody doing today? Good, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, good enough. So, just to start off, I spent 34 years in the Maryland prison system. I entered the prison system when I was 21. And I had an 8th grade education. I actually failed 8th grade 4 times, couldn't pass anyway. So when I got into prison, you know, one of what we call the old heads in the prison, probably what they call me now, is, you know, got me and said, no, you need to get to school. So I went and took my GED, and then went directly a beneficiary of the Pell Grant back in the early 80s, and I ended up attaining a bachelor's degree in political science and sociology from Coppin State University. The program, you know, actually came in. You know, we had actual classes, 3-hour classes, 4 or 5 nights a week. And then from there, I went on and attained a graduate degree from Cal State University through, you know, they wouldn't let me on the internet to do it, so I had to do everything, you know, through writing and talking to professors on the phone and that particular avenue of doing it. But what was so important, because I'm going to stop there for 1 second and then we'll talk about later on what I did with the college initiative. But at that point in time, we had a community inside the prison. It was about 1,800 prisoners inside the Maryland Penitentiary, and there was close to about 200, 240 people each semester in the college program. And we just had a community in there, and that community impacted the entire prison community. And then we also want to talk about how those that were in the prison program impacted their children or their families, their extended family. I mean, you know, dad did something, he is in prison, might be there for life, but he's going to college, right? And so this was very, very impactful for both the inside and the outside community. Then, of course, we lost the Pell Grants in 1994 due to the Anti-Terrorist Act under Bill Clinton. You know, we lost a generation and a half before the colleges start coming back. And what got me was I was able to figure out how important that education was for me to find my intellectual freedom, my spiritual freedom, my emotional freedom inside an environment that you're not supposed to find that. Okay? You're not supposed to find that. They don't care about that. And so, you know, as facing a life sentence in prison, this is what really freed my spirit. And I felt that it was so important that later on, people like myself, people who create programs and stuff like that are not always left in the prison, in there. They move you from prison to prison because some people don't like it. So, they call it bus therapy. They throw us on a bus and send us north or south or wherever. So when I went to another prison that was really, had a lot of gang problems, I decided that I really needed, these individuals, at-risk youth, and a bunch of friends that I had that I, did 20, 30 years with, we needed academia back in there. We needed college academia. And so we started a volunteer program at JCI, and several other prisons started it. Goucher University did it, a couple other prisons, and actually Max will talk about that a little bit later, about how they received grants. But we didn't have a grant at JCI. All we had was volunteers. And so whatever happened, whatever transpired within the institutions, within college professors, in probably, I'm going to say around 2000, I would say, whatever happened there, all of a sudden they start coming in. They were knocking down the doors. We had so many volunteers at Jessup that we didn't have room for everybody. Not enough room. Georgetown University, Loyola University, University of Baltimore, George Washington University, Morgan State. We just had so many professors coming in. And then we had professors, what they call a semi-inside-out program, which meant talking about bringing in students. So you had about 10, 15 students, along with 10, 15 incarcerated students. Now our program, not all of them had GEDs, because that, one of the focuses that we did, or I did, was to bring the at-risk youth in. And some of them call them gang members, you can call them whatever you want. But when they figured out that they're just as smart as a Loyola student, when they figured that out, they might have had only like me, an 8th grade education, if not less. They saw the potential that they had, and they saw, the opportunity that they missed. Because let's face it, especially in low-class communities, especially in communities of color, these opportunities are not there. They're just not there. People get out and all they see on the street corners, this is my life, my father's in prison, or my father deals drugs, or my uncle, my mother. This is what I got. This is the only opportunity I have. This is my pathway. And so now they're able to see, wow, I could have gone to school. I could have finished school. I could go to college. Some of these guys were smarter than the students coming in. They could talk about Machiavelli, they could talk about philosophy, they could do math, the whole gamut. So the importance of that is, and I'm really glad to say, is that while Goucher and another institution, MCIJ, everybody has their own different names, but they had grants. So right after I got out, University of Baltimore, with the program that helped develop, got a grant from President Obama. And so now we have an accredited program at JCI, along with the volunteer program, because we still want to take care of the older guys and the guys that really don't have an opportunity to get into the program because they limited that you have to be 5 years within your release date to get into the program. So we still have the professors coming in, knocking down doors. I go to various colleges all over Maryland, LaSalle, University of Maine, and now here I'm blessed to be here at Harvard, talking about the importance of college, the generation of college students, because let's face it, I'm old. This is your generation. What's going to happen, especially in the next 4 years, is going to be your responsibility, because you guys have to step up. The college campuses have been quieted since the 70s. I believe certainly by design, okay? And so now we talk about where do students where do faculty at universities of higher learning, where do they fit in? What, Pete read the mission. Well, all universities should have that mission if they don't. But the mission is to take responsibility for what our future is going to hold. And so when I talk about specifically college education in prison, you're talking not about coddling prisoners, you're talking about the reduction of victimization in the communities. The number one cognitive learning, college education is the number one point that will create success. Over 95% of people who get 12 credits or more, according to one study, do not come back. So when you have a state like Maryland that has a 50% failure rate, and you're not keyed up on continuing education, I asked the Senate president in Maryland one time, I said, well, if the University of Maryland, say Harvard too, had a 50% failure rate, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to continue with the same curriculum? No, I think not. They're going to get rid of a whole lot of people, and they're going to change their curriculum. In Maryland, they just still not getting it. We're in the legislature now, dealing with things. We're still facing a lot of obstacles, even when you get out of prison. You have a box up there, you got to check, have you ever been incarcerated? We actually have universities, that you don't even get past that. You have a criminal record, you're not even getting onto our campuses. So, where's the role now of the students? And in Maryland, what we have, I rattled off through the universities, we have law students, we have criminal justice students, we have philosophy students, we even have art students, Maryland Institute College of Art, getting into what is their role in dealing with the social, so certainly racial injustice that not only is our prison system facing, but the communities that are the pipeline to the prison system. And so now, now they're coming together. So my question is, you guys have Boston College up here, MIT, a whole lot more. How can Harvard Law School, let's say, become a hub and bring in all these other entities with students of other, and professors of other colleges, and really start making a change? We can't do it individually. It's not going to work. And that's what was happening in Maryland. Everybody's doing their own little thing. And so now by bringing it together, we got art going up all over the place about racial and social injustice, again, inside the prison system and inside the pipeline. So what we're doing, this is what I would challenge all of you, to talk to your friends, challenge your professors. Why aren't you in prison? Why aren't you at the state prison teaching a course? Volunteer. We have so many volunteers in Maryland. As I said, we have to turn them down. Not enough classrooms. So many people that want to get in. There's a waiting list. And so I think, today is, what is our role? This is an important step. Of course, we're going to fight the right. The right doesn't want to give anything to prisoners. I just don't think that they see the clear picture of how this impacts the community. They don't want to talk about the additional victimization. Just think about it. Maryland, 14,000 prisoners get out every year. Now, 20 years, like 21,000. So it was a rotation. 14,000 get out every year. 7,000 come back. How many victims are we talking about? And so let's think about this in the sense of prevention of victimization. And the same thing happened too when I got out and tried doing this with even at-risk youth on in the communities. Let's get them together with college students. Let's let them sit down and figure out, wow, I'm just as smart as them, And then the last thing that we talk about, one of our big dilemmas down there, because we talk about Georgetown, Loyola, Micah's one of the biggest arts colleges in the country. These are students, and forgive me, of privilege. And so one of the things we try to do is, everybody has their own idea. Everybody reads all the stats and all the papers written about it. But if you really want to help, then go find the impacted communities and see what they need, and get behind them and lift them up. You know, that's how you lead. You know, you can't lead from the front. You know what I mean? You got to lead from behind and lift them up so that they can talk about their needs. They can address their government. They can address, you know, the policy makers. And this is what we need students to do. And, you know, I hope all of you just, you know, take the initiative and really get behind each, whatever cause that you're into. We have so many social causes that we need to deal with in our country. But right now, you know, I mean, I'm big into criminal justice reform, as you can tell, because I think it crosses all the barriers and everything that's going on in our community. So, you know, again, just challenge you guys to, you know, to connect, collaborate, and, you know, we're going to need to stand up in the next couple of years. We might need to do it very soon if they take health care. You know, I mean, there's so much going on in our country that we need to have the college campuses come together, rise up, make a statement, learn from the history. Because these days, you know, I mean, I really don't know the demands, but you don't have enough time to do everything. I think that was by design, so you didn't have enough time to deal with social challenges. Thank you.